I said I missed the music, so I had to do this one without the pre-recorded intro. I needed to hear these tunes. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. It is Wednesday, the 26th of July. I went to go look at my watch, but I knew what day it was. Force of habit. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, that show on the internet that answers your traffic and police questions. Yes, we do that thing, and we do it well. What else can I tell you? I can tell you so many things. This is what we do. This is why we are here. And did I press the wrong button? I think I did. Hang on a second. Oh my goodness, I pressed the wrong button. Let me go back here, back to the live center. Yeah, hopefully it didn't break it. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic law, traffic safety, and police stuff every single day. So if you've got questions, we've got answers. We are currently streaming on a number of different platforms. So if you are on, actually, you're on whatever you're on. You're seeing it. If you're wanting to switch, maybe change channels, have a different experience, we're also currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and Twitter. Now, two things to note. Firstly, if you are on Instagram, you are you are looking at me in a vertical video, and you have a choice. You can see the widescreen, high definition 1080p, because we fixed that yesterday. You can do that by coming over to YouTube. If you go to trafficcop.ca, I have a link at the very top. That is our YouTube link for this live stream. If you are on that's Instagram. If you're on Twitter, you get the high quality live stream, but you're not getting the opportunity to ask questions. It just doesn't work with our software. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to go and jump over to YouTube. That's the best place to go. And regardless of what platform you're on, if you don't already follow us, please do. We do this Monday to Friday from 10 to 11 a.m., sometimes 11:30. Actually, lately it's been 11:30. We've been going a little bit long on these, and for good reason. Why? What is that good reason? Well, I'm glad you asked. We want to make sure we get as many questions answered, and so many of you are patiently waiting for us to answer your question. Once that 11 o'clock bell rings, there's no actual bell, but once the bell rings, once the time has come to end the show, we used to just turn it off, and if you missed out, you missed out. What we do now is we do our best to stop taking new questions and go back through the chat to try and find as many of the already asked questions and try and address them. It's just because we're awesome, and so are you. So, let's get into it. Now, I was going to tell you exactly the story about the live stream. No, I was about to tell you where Vision Zero was. And then I realized that the tweet didn't go out. So let me tell you in this old school piece of papery way that today, being the 26th, our Vision Zero enforcement team are spending time in 11 Division and 41 Division. Okay, does everyone know what that means? I'll come up with what the divisional neighborhoods are, or neighborhoods in those divisions are in just a second. But if you look at what we do, what is Vision Zero enforcement team? Because so many people don't know. I will tell you. The Vision Zero enforcement team are a group of officers that are dedicated to changing driver behavior one ticket at a time. Yes, they are going to issue tickets for people who choose to speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, or drive impaired. It's kind of important. Actually, it's really important. People who choose to engage in these activities are making our roads less safe. People will often say that speeding doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. If I'm just doing 10 or 20 over. But you know what? Every 5 kilometers over the posted speed limit that you do doubles your chance of becoming involved in a collision. I know. Wild, right? And no one will believe that stat. So look it up. It is a real deal, a stat shared around the world. It's not just a Toronto or a Canada thing. It is a thing. All right. What can we do? Let's start with saying good morning, Rose Sigia. Did I pronounce that correctly, Rose? It says good morning, Sean. And then Kayla Draconis comes in with greetings and salutations. Stephen Bell says hi, good morning. Let's see here. Kayla has a meeting at 11 o'clock, a hard stop for him. So he will be exiting, but we be sure to read his goodbye message at the end. Another Ann coming from YouTube wants to know if you can get, what is this? Let's see here. Let me make it on the big screen here. Could I get a ticket with a rear-mounted bike rack that blocks my license plate? Yes, you can. You're not allowed to obstruct or obscure your license plate for any reason with anything. Doesn't matter if it's a license plate frame or a bicycle rack. But a good question. Okay, Big Jeff Fresh says good morning, also coming in from the Tube of You. But a response, and quite accurate, Akila says that if you take your license plate from the back of your vehicle and use a relocation mount, you can put them on the back of the bike mount. You can actually relocate your bike plate there. The question from another end says, how come they can sell them and police use them? You're right. Well, first of all, they're not illegal to sell. They're not illegal to buy. They're illegal to use the license plate cover or the bike rack in this situation to cover your license plate, even if it's unintentional. So why do the police use them? It's a good question. They don't have an excuse for covering their license plates either. And we talked about it yesterday, and we talk about it all the time. Probably because the vehicle says police on the side of it and it has a unit number. It's an easily identifiable vehicle. That doesn't make it legal. It just might be the working through of why they're doing it. I'd like to see them put relocation plates on theirs as well. Nobody is safe from the HTA. No, there's very specific exclusions or exemptions, and that's not one of them. And the exemptions for police, that is. Okay, we're going to talk about a bunch of things, as we do every day. We're talking about careers, becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service. We're going to talk about trafficcop.ca and how you can use it to get some good information, as well as supporting the fine folks at Special Olympics Ontario. Let me start by putting this up on screen. We'll get her done, and then we'll move on. This is what you will see if you go to harleyraffle.ca. That countdown timer that says 6 days, 22 hours, 53 minutes, and 16 seconds. Oh, I timed that well. Well, that is the countdown until the draw. That's when you can no longer buy tickets and will not be entered into the draw to win a 2022 Harley-Davidson Touring Street Glide. But you can go there right now and buy tickets. 1 for 20, 3 for 50, or 8 for 100, which is what I bought because it is the best deal. If you don't know what Special Olympics Ontario is, I invite you to Google. Go look at some of the magical people who are being involved in sports and competition and, living their best life, with the help of Special Olympics Ontario. I've spoken to the athletes, many of them, not all of them, but they're amazing people doing amazing things, and I like supporting them. It's a good charity. Okay, here is a question from Celine. How am I? Celine. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Coming in from Instagram, does a sunroof / panoramic roof pass MTO safety, or is that structural damage? Do you have to have a roof? Look at a Jeep. You can take the roof off. I would imagine that the A, B, and C pillars and the structure that aside from the roof itself is the roll and safety cage, and the glass on top is just a piece of glass. No different than a rag top would be. It doesn't provide protection from impact, but the cage does protect you. The question is crack. I don't know. Oh, Celine, wait, is this a pronunciation clarification, or are you saying if it's cracked, is it an issue? I don't know. I don't know what you're going at. Oh, I meant a roof crack. Aha. See, this is trickling through. The deal is that if you have a cracked roof, is it a structural issue? I don't believe that impacts your thing. I would certainly want to get it repaired as soon as humanly possible, because a little crack becomes a big crack, and suddenly you are swimming when it rains. Not something that I imagine would be comfortable. Okay, what am I doing here? Oh, see, I don't have my laptop out. I was busy looking into stuff and things prior to the show, and that meant that I didn't do what I wanted to do. So let me just do a quick thing here. TPS. I want to do a search for TPS. What do I say the divisions were? Because I never did tell you what the divisional neighborhoods are. So that's 11 division. And we'll also do a search for, what's the other one? 41 division and VZ. And I can tell you from previous posts. Okay, so 11 and 41. Did I say that right? No, it's 1141. These are the neighborhoods where Vision Zero is spending time today. I totally saw a rabbit, came back. Junction, Weston, High Park, Roncy, Dorset Park, Kennedy Park, Birchcliff, Cliffside. Neighborhoods, that's where the Vision Zero enforcement team are going to be spending time today. Okay, it's out of my system. I closed the loop. I wanted to make sure I did say what I said, and we'll make sure that the tweets go out after, even though they didn't go out in time. Well, a whole bunch of stuff came in from TikTok. By the way, thank you to JD, our producer in the background, who is ensuring that your questions on TikTok actually see the light of day. Because I am not looking directly at the TikTok window. I do come back and look at what the producer puts into our window. So let's see what we have here. We have Stephen Bell, who says, who is not on TikTok, but Tony, who is next, is on TikTok. Okay. Oh, okay. Here's a question from London, Ontario. 3 days ago, my wife and I were at a park and we saw a dirt bike with a license plate on it here in London, Ontario. So you might be referring to a motorcycle that is classified as a dual sport. It is a dirt bike style vehicle capable of off-road, but also meeting the requirements of an on-road vehicle, a motorcycle for the road. It is also possible that you have seen a dirt bike that is not road legal, but is plated for trails. I believe they require plates for trails. I am not an off-road person. I do not know if that's the case, but I believe from previous conversations that that's the case. And it wouldn't be illegal on the road, but it would be maybe on a trailer going to an off-road location. If it's on private property, I've never seen. My personal off-roading experience was off-road on private property or trails that didn't require plates, but maybe that's changed because Sergeant Campbell, who's not here right now, talks about off-road stuff all the time. So I'd love to know, Stephen, if it was driving, if it had headlights and signals and the whole rigmarole, or if it was like an off-road bike with no headlight. Moving along, Tony has a question. Is a photo of my driver's license, both sides, on my phone acceptable instead of the actual card? No. The answer is no. It is not. It does not meet the legal requirements under the Act. You have to be able to surrender the physical card to a police officer upon demand for reasonable inspection. So a photo, although very helpful, especially if you by accident forget your license at home, would be helpful for, drawing an officer to the right path to identify you, because you legally must identify. That would help things, but it doesn't meet the requirement. You could still end up with a ticket. The officer, on the other hand, could also choose to, use discretion. That's up to them. But legally, you have not met the requirements under law. The only thing you can provide by way of electronic means is an insurance certificate by way of app. So if your insurance provider, mine does not do it, but if your insurance provider has an app that you can log into and then pull up your insurance information to show to an officer, but you have to also understand you have to give your phone to the officer. You can't just say, here, I have it. You have to actually provide it either through physically handing the phone over, which, by the way, if the battery dies, you're getting a ticket for $65 for not surrendering it, or through the app being able to send it. There's apparently got to have a way to do that. Hey, Emma. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Chubb's mom. Manny Gruel. Seeing all sorts of people. But our unofficial active community. But is the stream hanging for everybody or just for me on the screen? Hang on, let me refresh. Moving along. No, it's working again. It was just my screen. Things that happen here in TSV land. Our internet should be much better. Let me know if you noticed the difference in quality. Today should be 1080p. We've been running at 720 for the last little while, and that is because our internet was lagging, and now it's on fire, apparently. It's good. My wife is in the chat. Hey, honey, how you doing? She asks that if you have a question on TikTok in particular, please put the letter Q in front of your question. Otherwise, it may be missed as simple conversation amongst friends. We have a lot of conversation that happens here. Also, if I may be so bold as to ask for your assistance, please like, share, follow on whatever platform you're on. It really helps us out, helps the algorithm. And our goal is to help people. That's why we're here. We care. We actually want to help educate. We want to make the roads safer through education. And if we can avoid getting you to the point where you get a ticket, that is a win. Because you can get a ticket. That's education through enforcement. We're trying to beat you to it. We want to make sure you get the win, that you learn what's right and wrong. Not that you don't know, but there's some things you may not understand, may not be clear, and that's why we're here. We care. So please follow, like, subscribe, do all that business. Share that's the best. If you share this with somebody, that is the highest order, the highest praise, because you're putting your name on us, saying that we're worthy of sharing, and we appreciate it. We really do. I don't need to get to 1 million followers on TikTok, but I'd like to, just because it's bragging rights. That'd be cool. Not necessary, but cool. And just to step out from the questions for a second, It isn't about the number of followers. If there was one person here, I'd be doing this. It's just great to be able to reach out and help somebody, because for the longest time, the last 5 years, I haven't been on the road doing it. Because of an injury, I have not been able to go out and help people one-on-one the way what I signed up for, what I like doing. But I do get to help people this way, and it's very important to me. It's why I became a cop, which is something that is a great segue into employment. You could become a cop. If you are interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service, tps.ca/careers is the place to go. That is where you'll get all the information, the answers to everything you ever wanted to know and more under different headings. Police Constable, obviously, that's the information about becoming a police constable. If you scroll down, there's a big button that says apply now, so you know that I am not making this up. We are actually taking applications. All the requirements are listed here, as well as contact information to find out more information, getting in touch with a recruiter. If you are a member of another police service wanting to make a move to Toronto, there's a button for you too. Special constables are, at least that's what I was when I started. I was an auxiliary officer, which is under volunteer and youth programs, and I was having so much fun as a volunteer, I became a paid member. There was a hiring freeze when I first got hired or was applying, so I couldn't apply for police constable. Now we have a position that's quite the opposite. We are looking for people, and police services across the country are looking for people, and across North America are actively looking for people. So if you have an interest in serving your community and making it better for everybody, then you should look at law enforcement. But parking enforcement is also an opportunity, and you're still making the city better. You're helping keep people moving. Let's see if there's been any new postings in the civilian realm. I don't think there are new ones, but let's have a look. Job evaluation consultant, SQL database administrator, corporate buyer, senior analyst, senior programmer, senior technical analyst, solutions architect, and communications operator. You may have noticed that none of those say police officer. That's because you can help make the community better. You can serve your community, even if you never put a uniform on. It is a thing that you can do. And we actually have great pay and benefits and all that jazz. So you can have a job that is good for you and good for everybody else too. Good morning to Tim and good morning to Rodney. Rodney has a question. Let me scroll back. There's a whole bunch of questions before Rodney's question. Oh. Let's see here. What do we got? We've got, we talked about this already. Tony says, the Tony reply is a reply from Michaela to Tony. Kik has sent 10 notifications that we were live. That's pretty impressive. Let's see. Ontario Kayak Fishing Adventures has a question. I will sip. Too bright headlights, especially low beams, legal or illegal? Well, let's talk about it. Is there a maximum brightness that is limited or permitted on the road? Absolutely. It's outlined in regulations on the Highway Traffic Act. And if I tell you a lumens rating, it probably means nothing. My understanding is 3,000 lumens would be the maximum. 300 candela is the minimum to be considered a headlight. The bigger problem, new technology is just brighter, cleaner, whiter light. Although you can produce white or yellow, the quality of the light being produced by new LED bulbs and even some of the older halogens, just super bright. Whereas we were, probably all grew up with the incandescent garbage that we had. I don't even know how people can see the road with older vehicles. Now, there's something that you may not be, and many people don't understand. You have to direct and focus those beams. You have to adjust them so that they're pointing in the right direction. And we're finding that many vehicles out of the factory are not directed properly. Somebody slapped the housing in, but nobody actually focused it. So you may be finding people who are having that. And if your lights are improperly focused or directed, that is an offense under the Highway Traffic Act. So it could be too bright, it could be improperly focused. So not legal, high or low. Now, if you're using a high beam, when the high beam kicks in, it is higher to project the light farther forward, but it can't be used when approaching other vehicles. So there's lots to know, lots to unpack. Let's see here. Oh, here's a great question. I love this. How can I, as a citizen, hand out tickets to cops for violating the Highway Traffic Act? User 6969 wants to know. Well, first of all, you can go become a police officer, and you can learn the Highway Traffic Act. I'm assuming that you don't know that police officers are exempt from a number of laws. I don't know which ones, because you've not been specific as to what the violations are, I'd love to know what they are that you're witnessing, because I probably have an answer for you. Like cell phone use, legally permitted to use cell phones, computers, two-way radios, police officers, ambulance, and fire. If you're talking about speeding, police officers can exceed the speed limit. If you're talking about crossing through red traffic signals, they can do that. They have to come to a stop first, activate their emergency equipment, and go through. So I don't know what you're alleging they're doing wrong, but I would love to know. And as Akela says, and is absolutely correct, you can make a complaint, but you cannot issue a ticket. You don't have that authority. But you can call a supervisor. They will investigate. And the supervisor will be able to pull up dash camera, call stats, depending on what it is, they'll be able to look and see. If it was justified, there's no issue for the police officer. If they were doing something wrong, they will be documented, or at very least, having a conversation. I don't know, depends on what it is. But, parking, they're allowed to park where they need to park. Minor bylaws and things like that are city, municipal level, they can break those in emergent situations. That was a lot of different sounds at the same time. Let's see here. Can a cop tell if you're insured? Oh, here. Can a cop tell if you have insurance by reading your plate? So we can search certain things. We can find out if the ministry has it flagged as confirmed or unconfirmed. But at the end of the day, we're still going to be pulling you over to verify the insurance, and it may actually require a conversation with your insurance provider before we can actually truly say you have insurance. So very often when I was on the road, I would pull someone over. They'd provide a card to me that either didn't look proper or was on its face expired. But an expired insurance slip doesn't mean you don't have insurance. It means that the card is no longer valid, which means I can call the insurance company. They will tell me if the policy is in effect or not. If it's in effect, you get a ticket for $65 for having an expired valid insurance card. If you have no insurance, you're getting charged with driving without insurance, which has $5,000 to $25,000 in fines and up to 6 months in jail, a much more serious offense. And we have 3 years to lay that charge. So I may not call your insurance company right then and there, but if I'm going to do all my homework, I'm going to go back and do my research afterwards, even if just to make sure. So on its face, it might be valid. I might just have a record of everybody I stop and check everybody's insurance to make sure it's valid. So it's entirely up to the officer as to how they proceed. I had a friend who he's since retired, but he used to have a book, and he would check the status of the insurance. And on that day, if your insurance wasn't valid when they stopped you, even up to 3 years later, he could lay that charge. Oh, any of us could. I love these M1 or G1 questions. So Gurpreet wants to know, what happens if you drive on a highway with only your M1? What are the consequences? First off, I got to just make sure we're talking about the same thing. I assume you're asking about a controlled access highway, otherwise known as an expressway or parkway. A highway is actually any road in the province of Ontario, and you're allowed with an M1 to drive on the road, just not on highways or expressways that have a speed limit over 80 kilometers an hour. It's like 400 series highways. You cannot be on those. What happens if you get pulled over on one? Well, quite simply, you get charged with an offense called, it's G1 or M1, violate conditions of license. I think that's what it's going to be. And it's going to give you a 30-day suspension upon conviction. Even if you have your full license, you're going to get suspended once it goes to court. And that's the story. That's what happens. It's a $110 fine, and that's it. Now, if you do it again, you get a 90-day suspension. You do it a third time, you get kicked out of the program. Mind you, an M1's only good for 90 days, so you're going to be kicked out of the program anyway. These are bad things to do. Now, let's convert for a second. M1 is motorcycle. G1 would be car, and same offense situation applies. What is this? Oh. What is the fine and demerit points for driving off a police stop in failing to stop for police? Well, let's see what comes up when we look at, and we're going to look it up under two places. And I think this is interesting because I want to read to you what the whole kit and caboodle comes up as. So it's failed to stop, but if you actually stop and you just leave before we're finished with you, at a certain point, there's actually a part where you can leave, but you do complicate things. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny for when the person gets all the charges that come along with it. For us, not for you. It's not funny for you. Let's see here. So, fail to stop. No, I want to look for it under the criminal code because that's what we're talking about, failing to stop. Criminal code. Fail to stop. Why am I not finding it so easily? No, it's not searching in the way I want to. Stop for police. Come on. I want to read you the whole thing. This is where fuzzy searches are not fun. Maybe it's under flee. It's the wording. In any case, I thought it was going to come up right away and I was going to read it for you perfectly. So there's a lot of consequences. I want to find it for you. And maybe JD can find it and send me the deets on it. But I want to give you that answer. So we're going to put that in the bucket for I'm going to come back to it because I think you need to know. I think I should know what it is off the top of my head, but it's not what I talk about most often because most people are good people and they stop for the police. Okay. What happens if you have a fine in another province and you don't pay it? Well, you're going to get your license suspended likely, which means it's suspended there, means it's suspended here. Yeah, that's probably bad for you. I would think it's bad. What is this? I couldn't see any light on the driver. What is this? Let's see. I couldn't see any light on it. The driver on it had a helmet, was on the street. So was it nighttime? This is going back to the off-road bike that was in a park area. I'd be interested to know more. Okay. AJ the Awesome is here and says, good morning, broski. Chubb's mom has a question. If someone gets a DWI causing accident, why does the courts allow the charge to be reduced to careless driving? That is a good question for the courts. I don't know. I would like to see much more serious consequences, but it's the most heavily, litigated charge? Yes. Yes. It's because people waste a lot of court time on it. Okay, so that's it. So, okay, JD pulled it up. In Ontario, Section 216 of the HTA says you must immediately come to a safe stop when pulled over by police. If you don't, you can face a fine between $1,000 and $10. Between $1,000 and $10? Oh, $10,000. We ran out of zeros. Zeros are expensive. But is there not an additional charge that's criminal? I thought, JD, that there was one. But I just wasn't finding it in my quick search. I'm positive there's a criminal element for it as well. It's flee from police, I think. Second part. Oh, he hadn't finished typing. He did not fail. He just hadn't typed. He hadn't finished typing. All right, we'll come back to this. 10,000. Oh, there's more. So so even under the HTA, it's 1,000 to 10,000 and up to 6 months in jail. If it turns into a chase, fines can be up to $25,000. But isn't there also a criminal? I want criminal code charges. I was convinced there has to be criminal. Oh, he's working on criminal. There's criminal coming. I'm going to make a poster on this one. You know, some things, they just stick in my head and I can recall them at any time. And then that one doesn't. And it is what it is. Flight from police. See, I'm searching all the other stuff, but it's flight from police. All right. Did I say Tim Shallow says good morning? I think we did. Here's a question from Rodney. Can you go anywhere you want in Toronto to do radar or any other traffic enforcement, or you have to go where you're sent? So we have divisional police officers who are responsible for their divisional boundaries, policing within them. They go to police or calls for service within those divisional boundaries, or unless they're called somewhere else because there's a shortage, because we are Toronto Police, it says so on our shoulder. We can go anywhere. Traffic enforcement officers or traffic officers at traffic services can generally go anywhere in the city of Toronto, especially now we have Vision Zero officers who focus on different areas and are given areas to focus on, but that doesn't mean they have to go specifically to a street corner. They can go generally within a geographical area, but they're also policing on their way there and on their way back, so we're always policing. When it comes to, it depends on the assignment. There are times when we'll say, yeah, go to the street and focus on it. But generally speaking, when I was in motor squad, for instance, it was go anywhere. And I did. And then flight from police, JD comes back. We're circling back, changing channels for a second. Take it off the screen so it makes more sense, or doesn't confuse anyone. Offense under section 320.17, flight from police, Hybrid offense prosecuted by indictment, the maximum penalty is 10 years of incarceration. If prosecuted by summary, the conviction, by summary conviction, the maximum penalty is 2 years less a day and or $5,000 in fines. This is good. Everyone commits an offense who operates a motor vehicle or vessel while being pursued by a police officer and who fails without reasonable excuse to stop the motor vehicle or vessel as soon as it is reasonable in the circumstances. That's the details. Okay, I think we've exhausted it. I'm going to print that out. I want it forever, stuck to my desk. Okay, because it's going to come up again, and I won't remember it. The joy is I don't have to remember everything because we have access to information and a magical producer named JD. Let me close this. Hey, if you are interested in knowing stuff and things, as most of you are, that's why you're here. I want to share with you a little something which many of our regular followers already know about, and that is trafficcop.ca. Yes, if you would go to trafficcop.ca, this is the link tree you will find with links to all sorts of things, like where to buy tickets for the Harley raffle, all of our social media accounts, all of my social media accounts. We have some of the past appearances on other platforms, other shows. But the useful links one is the most important one. That's the one that I really want to draw your attention to. And this is where you can go to make some police reports, just like it says. If you're a pedestrian or cyclist, you can start your collision report here and then just attend one of the 3 collision reporting centers to finalize the report. Something to note, it's pedestrian and cyclists only for this form, and it is pedestrians and cyclists only who can attend 9 Hannah. That is the 3rd collision reporting center. Everybody else, motorcycle, car, truck, if you're going to a collision reporting center, you have to go to the north or the east. If you want to get your license, here's a link to the online driver's handbook. I'm sure you could also find the motorcycle handbook there. I didn't even look. I was looking at it. I thought, hey, let's share the link. I didn't actually figure out if you can go to all 3 of them. Maybe I need 2 more links or 3 more links. How many links are there? How many different handbooks are there? Driver's license check. If you're going to be loaning your vehicle to a friend, you want to make sure they're licensed. Oh, no, you really do, because you're responsible for your vehicle. And if you loan it to someone who's unlicensed, you will be charged under the Highway Traffic Act. Not to mention you're going to have some issues with your insurance company because they won't cover you if it's an unlicensed driver that you loaned your vehicle to. So do the work in advance. Renewing your license plate is free, and it's free in Ontario for most motor vehicles. So go do it. There should be no reason not to do it. And you can set up a reminder there where they will send you texts, emails, even phone calls to tell you to do it. Because we don't have that little sticker reminder. You used to do the circle check because everyone does a circle check on their vehicle every morning, right? And the sticker used to be a good reminder. Oddly enough, they do choose, in most cases, a very memorable day to know when your license plate and license expires. It's fairly memorable to you. It's your birthday. Unless it's a business vehicle, and then it's the, what day is it? It is going to be your fiscal year end. If you're a cyclist and you want to know what the laws of operating said cycles in the city of Toronto, here's a link to it. Talks all about e-bikes and whatnot. Then you've got the very magical e-bike and e-kick scooter pilot project and law breakdown on the Ontario site, so you can check that. VIN numbers, you're buying a vehicle, you want to make sure it's not stolen, check the database. VIN, I called it a VIN number. Sorry for the loud noise, that's frustrating. I got to get out of the habit of saying VIN number because it is not a VIN number. It's not a VI number. It's a VIN, which includes vehicle identification number in the acronym. I don't need to say number at the end, and yet sometimes I do because it's a habit. New residents and visitors driving in Canada. Here's a detailed information for each province as to what the rules are. And lastly, if you want to give kudos to a member of the Toronto Police Service, not me, I am not asking for kudos. I do not need them. Your being here is enough for me. But if you have an interaction with a magical officer on the street, if someone comes to your house and helps you in some way, if you are having a good interaction with a Toronto police officer, I'd ask that you make a compliment form and tell them by way of letting the service know that they were magical. That would really go a long way. I bet you'd make a copper's day. Now, if you get a ticket from someone and you are unhappy, it's a different form. But it really, this job is one where we don't get a lot of thanks. The people who appreciate us do, and people like you who watch the show, we thank you. But many people don't like the police. So it is very nice to get tapped with a thank you now and again. And I've had letters from people who said, Officer Shapiro came to a collision scene, helped me out, gave me information, made sure we got home. What they wrote a letter, and it blew me away, and it's in my file and it stays there forever. So I really appreciate that. And when I retire, I'm going to read those all again, and I'll get all teary-eyed and remember what many years of contributions look like. Okay, let's move along. If you're watching, you don't know who I am, by the way. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I work at Traffic Services, which is the citywide traffic unit for the Toronto Police Service in the city of Toronto. More specifically, I work at Traffic Safety Programs, which is, well, partially media relations and partially education and partially, I do a lot of different things. We do a lot of different things. And lots of cool stuff coming down the pipe. We were just at Honda Indy. That was amazing. We have some shows that are coming up, and I'll be releasing more information about that as we get a little closer. But anyone going to Fan Expo? I'll just leave that there. Okay, moving on. Can I get a DUI charge if I'm impaired driving on private property? In a private property? Yes. It's a criminal charge and it applies everywhere in the country. On private property, on public property, any property. Property, anywhere. Messier on fire. Thank you very much. Condolences to your TPS family for the loss of Bingo. Bingo was a Toronto Police canine. I was going to say canine officer because he was a dog working for canine as an officer. Police dogs, police horses, they're police officers. You injure one of them, it's assaulting or a police officer. It's not just a dog. And even if it was just a dog, that's someone's family. And I would argue that Bingo and Bingo's handler were tight, possibly even best friends. So this is a tragic loss for them. It's a loss for the service. And it's a sad day. I was really I was talking about it with my wife last night. It was heartbreaking. And my heart goes out to them. Any officer, two-legged or four-legged, being lost is very sad. Okay. Michael's going to wear a morning band. We don't do morning bands on our badges. Maybe we should, but I don't wear one on my uniform. It's on our hat, and a morning band is a good idea. I like that. All right. Do you have to go to court if you get a subpoena? Yes. If you don't if you don't go to court, the court can issue a bench warrant, that they can actually, you can get arrested and taken to court. So now, if you're subpoenaed as a witness, a material witness, it's generally, usually it's coming, but not attending is not good. Let's see here. Faisal. Let's see what Faisal wants to know. Can Uber driver pick up the customer with a child if they do not have a car seat? No. There is an exemption for buses. There's an exemption for taxis. There is no exemption for Uber drivers. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's in your agreement, like that you'll follow all the laws. And there, again, no exemption for customer or share ride, any of those Uber or Lyft services. You wouldn't be allowed in your personal vehicle, which it is your personal vehicle, to do it. You can't do it because you put a light on and take money for the ride. All right. You'll have to go to another customer. And remember that you as the Uber driver or the driver are responsible. The mom or dad or caregiver of that child doesn't get the ticket. They might get something else, but you, the driver who chose to drive with them in your vehicle, is 100% responsible. So if they say, I'll give you a tip, just do it, I would say, no, don't do that. Okay, questions about riding in a box truck. I'm going backwards now, flagging a bunch of stuff because things are coming in fast and furious. How old do you have to be to sit in the front seat? We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, interesting. This isn't a question, but we will. I'm laughing at Kayla, not you, Stephen. Stephen's suggestion is for your new office walls, you can paint it traffic light colors, red on top, yellow in the middle, and green on the bottom. I think that would cause me to go a little bit mad. So I probably won't do that. What is likely going to happen next week or the week after, or soon, I hope, is that we're going to get treatment. You may not hear or notice what I'm noticing, but there's a lot of reverb or audio issues in here in this particular room. Still appreciate that this is better than others, but we need to get some soundproofing in here to improve the sound quality and prevent noise from coming in and noise going out and all that jazz. But we will be doing some decorations, and yeah, it'll be cool. I promise you. Akela, this is what I was laughing at. Vehicle VIN number. So, vehicle is the V, identification is the I, number is the N. So it's the vehicle identification number. That's what Akela. Akela is a funny guy if you didn't know. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So I gotta scroll back. I'm taking things out of context. I don't want to take things out of context. Okay. We're still at the good mornings. I think I scrolled back too far. Shirna Castle. Oh, okay. Some questions about other provinces. Hey, if you want to ask a question, if you want to make sure it gets taken over to the other side, make sure you put the letter Q in front of it so we know it's a question. Okay. We talked about this. Oh, I scrolled way too far. Court subpoena. Okay, that's where we're at. And the Uber. There we go. All right, here we go. 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 I'm going to flag all these other ones, and then we're going to come back. See here. See, that's what happens when lots of questions come in. It's hard to track them. All right. If you have a digital photo of your policy that can be shown as proof of insurance when pulled over, not a digital photo. Photos do not count. You must have an app provided by your insurance provider, which provides a secure and unalterable version. And when you do that, then you can. Interesting things happening. Things flashing in the window. Let's see here. Oh, some boom, boom, boom. John Westaver. Hey, how you doing? Okay, that is someone you need to watch content of. We'll talk about John in just a second. All right, clicking on this, clicking on that. A bunch of different questions coming that I want to talk about. Here's one we can. What did I just do? Did I not talk about the question I put on screen and just skip it while looking for other things? I saw a squirrel. Let's talk about this one while I scroll back to the one I think I totally ignored. No, I did talk about okay, was insurance policy, correct me if I'm wrong, family. Was it the insurance one that I had on screen last and then didn't? Anyway, you let me know if I missed it and I'll go back. So the question from Space Hawks is, do you need to obey speed limits and stop signs on private property? It depends. If it's truly private property, then it's not enforceable. They can trespass you, but it's not enforceable. Trespass to Property Act, separate situation. Now, if you're talking about TTC property, if you're talking about Metrolinx property, they can actually issue tickets because there's an act that gives them authority that you'd need to then follow. So it depends. At the end of the day, they're there for safety. So regardless of whether or not you get a ticket for it, it's smart to follow the rules. And a follow-up question, oh, see, look at that. See, Akela's on it. Bingo. Now bingo, whenever I say bingo, I'm going to be thinking of the canine bingo. Well, that's good. He will live on every time I hear bingo. Bingo was his name, like everything. And I mean that with no disrespect. I will forever think of bingo when I hear the word bingo. Does Ontario have any incentives to buy an electric vehicle? Has upgrading our power grid started to accommodate the needs for electric charging? I don't know. I used to have a hybrid many, many moons ago. It was a mild hybrid, and I got a discount from in a tax break maybe, or some kind of rebate incentive when I bought it. But that I don't know if that's still in effect. And now there are truly electric vehicles, and there was an incentive, and I don't know if it's still there. And I couldn't tell you anything about the electrical grid because I don't know anything about it. Let's see here. What is this? Important question. Can a crash truck driver turn towards a car to protect worker or charges laid? I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Like, are you saying can a truck driver intentionally crash into another vehicle to protect life? That's going to be, it depends what happens in court. There's certainly no authority providing people the ability to make intentional contact. Police can do it. We can make intentional contact. It's a big high risk situation. It has happened before. Wrong way driver on the highway. Officer decides to create a collision opportunity to stop the vehicle. It has happened. It's not something that a civilian vehicle should or he's likely not even get covered under insurance. Now you're talking about as a crash truck, so it's going to be a city vehicle or a construction vehicle. But let me know more what you're thinking. But I would first off say probably not. Like, don't do that. Maybe it's a tough call. Yeah, I mean, you do what you're going to do, and then you deal with the consequences. Scrolling down. 15 minutes to go. Wow. It's funny. Yesterday we did an hour and a half and it flew by. Today's running a little slower in my brain. Maybe it's the lack of coffee. I'm slowly sipping. Okay. If you don't already follow us, please do. Oh, actually, speaking of which, see, squirrel. Yes, first off, if you don't already follow us, please do. Please like, share, and subscribe and all that business because we love having you around. But I wanted to talk about two things. One, what's your favorite driving music? And two, I want to talk to you about the three-wheeled car / motorcycle / vehicle that I posted about yesterday. Did you see the video? I find it very interesting, the level of confusion that it caused. But we'll talk about that in a second. So first off, summer music tracks. What are you listening to when you cruise? When you drive. Today, on the way to camp, my kids and I listened to movie theme music, and it was really interesting to listen to it and see if we could recognize what movie it came from, because it was a playlist from Apple. I just said play music theme or movie theme music, and it was off to the races. Very interesting, and I recognized almost all of them. Some of them I didn't. Some of them just stunk. But, every time we get in the car, we try and listen to something absolutely different. So what do you do? Let me know in the comments. Emma listens to Snoop Dogg's Kids. Snoop Dogg has a kids album? Come on. I didn't know. And my wife just said, that's a thing. And anyone who's wondering, yes, my wife is watching the live stream right now on TikTok, no less. Luke Combs Fast Car. Delano is listening to that. We were listening to a Radar Love right now. You know what? We should. I tried to do this last year. Maybe we can actually get it working this year. I tried to create a playlist based on everyone's suggestions. So there's a form that is on trafficcop.ca. It says send me a message. If you go on, send me your favorite cruise tunes. I'm going to try and compile a playlist, and I'll try and put it on Spotify. I'll try and put it on Apple Music, so that you could actually just hit it, subscribe to it, and listen to the culmination of all of our followers' favorite music. I think that'd be pretty cool. Akela Dracona says, Slade, Ready to Explode, good racing song, maybe Mel Tillis, Long Way to Daytona. These are car-themed songs. It doesn't have to be car-themed, but that's very cool. Let's see here. Can you wear earplugs when driving? In fact, if you're riding a motorcycle, we suggest them. You want to protect your hearing. So earplugs are absolutely permitted, which is also one of the reasons why headphones are permitted when driving. Other provinces may have different rules, but here you can cover your ears. And in some circumstances, you'd want to. Michael says it's going slower because the lack of good sergeant and good Berta peace officer. Yeah, it was great having Logan on the show yesterday. He'll be back again. And Sergeant Campbell also. We love it when we have more people on screen. Here. Any idea if a digital driver's license is in the works, similar to insurance? This is a question from TikTok. The answer is it was supposed to be ready by the end of last year, I think. Like the premier had said that it was going to be ready, and it didn't happen. Obviously, this is a big deal. You want to make sure security is in place, because if you create a flaw or a vulnerability, others will exploit it. So they delayed rolling it out, but it's a matter of time. It's absolutely going to come this way. Other countries, other states are doing it, provinces. I might be doing it, but I've never actually been presented with one. I know that the Apple iPhone does have the capability of using them once they become legally and available. Encryption, all sorts of stuff. You know, people are scared of other countries getting access to our information through TikTok. What about, you know, the information we make available ourselves? It's a little concerning. Thin White Line Interceptor sends a message saying, single most positive interaction as a traffic cop. What are you most proud of? You know what? There's so many good ones. There's so many bad ones. Which one am I most proud of? You know, I wasn't a traffic cop at the time, and I've talked about this before on the show. I remember pulling up as an auxiliary officer on a Harley Davidson because I was a traffic auxiliary officer, yes. And I pulled up at a traffic light. I think I was on Queen Street approaching University, and there was a kid in the back seat of a car who looked over and just face glued to the window, and I gave a wave, and his face just exploded with a smile, and that made my day. And it's stuck with me for 20 plus years. It was something that really was just a good takeaway. You know, kids are important. Developing relationships with our community is important. But I've had so many positive experiences. I don't know if there's any one that is, you know, so much better. Well, as a motor squad officer, I tell you, and I've again spoken about this before as well. I was working the Invictus Games as a motor squad officer, escorting athletes for the Invictus Games from different venues, and by far the most the highest honor I think that I was able to. I felt honored, wasn't I? And a soldier came out and thanked me for my service. He was an amputee. I don't remember if it was one limb or two, but he was an amputee, thanking me for my contributions as a police officer. And I got choked up. I'm like, you went out and you know, you served your country. I think he was American, and it's me who should be thanking you, not the other way around. You know, that he's truly. This is well before my collision, of course. It was pretty awesome. Yeah. There's so many little things that you don't even think of, and they just pop into your head, memories. Every bit of being a police officer has been an absolute honor and privilege. So I can't say one particular thing. There's just so many different ones, and as I speak about one, I think about others, and they've just all been really good. Let's see here. What is this? If I'm on, more questions coming in. Tim Robinson has a question. You got to put a Q in front of it, and then someone will put it onto the thing. Question from user, lots of numbers, says, why do I see T stickers on license plates? That's a temporary sticker. And I don't know if they're still issuing those or not. Maybe they are. They're only good for 10 days. And we would be running those plates anyway, more so with the electronic automated plate readers. But we would always, historically, I've always run those plates to see when they expire and then pull them over and give them the ticket. Did you get to meet Prince Harry? Kind of, sort of. So I was standing at the hotel where he was, and he walked by, and you're not supposed to take selfies or anything, but maybe my partner got a selfie with him that I took, and as he walked by, because it was kind of one of those impromptu things, Prince Harry said, "Shocking," and had a big smile on his face, and later he gave us challenge coins. So yeah, kind of, sort of. I got to start bringing in challenge coins. And do I have a challenge coin here? I want to share with you challenge coins. This is something I've been thinking of for a long time. And challenge coins are very much a military thing that has become a police thing. As I dig through my bag, I'm going by, this is probably very noisy for you, and I apologize. But it is something that I want to share with you because it's really cool, and it's been a hobby of mine for a long time. I love it. I love trading them. I love gifting them. Yeah, I got a couple of them. Oh, that's not the ones I was going to show. But it is a very cool, here, this is a good one to show. Okay. Some of them are very secret challenge coins. The Grinch says, my daughter has a challenge coin from cadets. Very cool. Yes, it is very much a earned versus purchased. I'm big on coins that you can earn, and I'm going to show you one that you can only earn. This is not a trader. It's not a purchasable gift shop thing. And I'll bring in the Prince Harry coin maybe tomorrow. Okay. Let's see here. I want to flag a couple of things. I'm pausing on as I go and flag some questions because I've gone completely off the plan here. Let's see here. Do Sean wave? Oh, Michael says, attention viewers, did Sean wave at you on motorcycle at Queen University? You might be watching. Yeah, I wonder if the young lad who was in the back seat was influenced positively 20 years ago. Are you now a viewer? You see all those videos where the police officer, firefighter, paramedic who helped deliver a child at the side of the road gets to meet or saves them from drowning, or meets them 20 years later when they're graduating from university, and this big. Yeah, did I wave at you when driving by your vehicle? Did it change your life in any way, shape, or form? Okay, now let's see here. Oh, okay. Questions about squealing tires. Okay, Chase has a question. Oh, this is a good one. Did driving alone with the G1. What is this? Riding motorcycles on the shoulder, is it legal? Okay, before I get into these questions, this is cool. This is a coin that I earned. This particular one, not only did I earn it, but I designed it, and quite proud of it. So this is a Motor Squad coin, and this is the level 1. Now I have level 1, 2, and 3, but this is the level 1 challenge coin that is issued to participants in the level 1 motorcycle operators course. So this is one that I'm truly honored and to have, even though I designed it, because I design a lot of things. It's very cool. And what's the coolest thing about it is you can't have it unless you ride a motorcycle and took the course, and passed the course, not just took the course. It's kind of important. Boom. There was a question if questions sound stupid. There's no such thing as a stupid question. And Stephen Bell, no, your questions don't sound stupid. I may not have picked up everything you were putting down, but I'm scrolling through so many different things at the same time. I'm not always getting it all. Let's see what we got here. I've got 20 things flagged. Hopefully I got them. I flagged them and I forgot to go to them. Rules on riding in the box of a truck. So pickup truck bed, rear end of a vehicle. The rules are if there's no seatbelt for you, if it wasn't designed to carry you and has a seatbelt provided and available, you can't be in it. Oh, we got a submission for music. Someone sent in a music suggestion. Let's see here. This is a question from Marco. Okay, I was expecting music suggestions, but I will get to your email later. How old do you have to be sit in the front seat? There's no age requirement. We suggest 14 years old. You need to be in a child restraint, in a booster, up until the age of 8, 80 pounds, or 4'9" in height. But in terms of the location of that seat, there is no legal requirement to be in the front or the back or whatnot. So we say 14 in the back is preferred. It is suggestion only. We talked about subpoenas in court, all-terrain. No. Oh, we already covered this. Okay. If a G2 expires while it's suspended for medical reasons, do you have to start graduate licensing system over? Nick, I don't think that's the case. I think that your time credited is still credited, and you would just have to go renew. You might need to take your G2 again. You may have to test again, but your time wouldn't be gone unless it was over a certain period of time when it would expire. So if your suspension was for 3 years, I think if you're unlicensed for 3 years, you have to do a vision test. There's a different category for each. Best to check with drivetest.ca and Service Ontario. They'd be the right place. And I just don't know if the G2 applies the same way as a full license would. Okay. M1 and G1 can operate with. Okay. So Michael's answering a question. I flagged that as a question. It's not a question. And we talked about this. Okay. Let's move on. We talked about Boy, I flagged a bunch of stuff. I talked about them and then I forgot to unflag them. Fringe cowboy. Oh, interesting question. The fringe cowboy wants to know if it's true that your license plate can be mounted sideways or upside down as long as it's not obstructed. That is not true. It must be horizontally mounted as you would expect it to be and legible from a distance from the front of it. It cannot be obstructed, it cannot be vertical, cannot be twisted sideways, upside down. It must be properly mounted as you would expect. It has to be the Ontario on top. It has to be the numbers legible. You turn it upside down, it'll mess up reading. You turn it sideways, it's not legible and easy to read. So it's not as per the regulations state it must be. It's a good question. No one's ever asked it quite that way. Why can't drivers understand how to zipper merge? By the way, if you're asking more questions, it's 11 o'clock. My wife has already said that in the chat. So it means that you cannot ask any more questions. At least I'm not looking for questions at this point. We're trying to cover all of the other questions that have already been asked. I just saw that Colin wants to know if I have taken part in the Bubblegum 3000 or Gumball 3000. I have not. I have managed to be out of the country every single time. I've been invited to go. I've been invited to work, like to go and photograph and create content for the event. I have never actually made it to the event because I've somehow always been on vacation. But going back to Spawn Hawk's question of why can't drivers understand how to zipper merge, it's beyond frustrating when the traffic is backed up for miles because people are already sitting in the lane that's not ended. You are 100% correct. That drives me bananas, bonkers, wild. Many people don't know how to drive. They don't. And they think that trying to squeeze into the first opportunity is the right way. It's absolutely the wrong way. A merge lane is a lane. Take it to the end of the lane. Zipper merge means every other vehicle, once you get to the end, you let every other vehicle in. You don't have to let 5 vehicles in. You let 1 vehicle in, and then you continue. The person behind you then lets 1 person in front of them, and so on and so forth. That's the way it works. This is where we like to talk about things. So maybe there's got to be some animations or something that show zipper merge in action, and I can do a TikTok about it, and it'll become viral because people need to know. Really bugs me. Okay. Brent Sylvester has a question. Can I get a ticket for having my tires squealing and spinning by mistake? You get a ticket for anything. The truth is that you wouldn't, chirping your tires accidentally, momentarily, probably wouldn't get you charged. Doing a burnout is far from unintentional. It is considered intentional. And yes, you can get charged for it. You can get charged for unnecessary noise. You can get charged for stunt driving. You can get charged for pretty much those two. I'm trying to think of anything else that would be. You can be damaging the roadway. Like there's things that they used to charge you per foot of tire that were left on the road for burnouts. So, yeah, you can get charged, mistake or otherwise, because you can't. A mistake is like a momentary something. It happened. Changed gears improperly, you squawk the tires. But if you are losing traction and it's continuing, it is absolutely not a mistake. It is considered intentional, and you have a hard time proving otherwise. The safety inspection guide says no aftermarket windshield tint, meaning any ordered at the factory is legal. There is a certain type of coloration or tint, I guess, what am I thinking of here? Polarization, things like that nature that are baked into the glass that come from factory, and if it's being offered, is likely legal. But you cannot put aftermarket, you cannot apply a film, and tint is considered a color or reflective film or coating. So you can't coat it afterwards. The stuff that's sandwiched into the windshield is my understanding to be legal, but I don't have the, I got to talk to a Mercedes dealership because maybe they would have the information. It's Transport Canada that approves what can be imported into the country, and they're going to be setting forth those guidelines. All right. I would assume anything being sold in the country from a dealership would be selling an approved thing. If the dealer puts it in, that does not mean factory. Factory means at the factory. Okay. Here's a question or statement. My friend constantly drives alone with her G1. I told her she shouldn't be doing so, but she refuses. Should I call the police on her? Yeah. Of course, I would. That is something that is, they're not insured. If they go out and smash that car, they're not insured. The insurance company is not going to cover them. So they're ignorant to do that. That's really ignorant. That is someone who's so selfish that they're willing to put others at risk. They're not a trained driver, and they're choosing to drive effectively without insurance. The vehicle might be insured, but if they're doing it with the blessing of the owner, they're going to get denied. It's going to be a terrible thing. Ask them if they want to, owe $250,000 or actually up to $2 million. Maximum you can sue for is $2 million. They're going to be on the hook for that if they get convicted, or not convicted, but found lose the court battle. It's not a conviction so much as it is a lose when it comes to civil court. Let's see here. People don't think about the violence. They think, oh, it's all no fault. Everyone's insurance. No, it's a bad day at the office. This is the one I noticed earlier. Is it illegal for motorcyclists to ride the highway shoulder to avoid overheating and safety reasons? Yeah, it's totally illegal. Illegal. Can't do it. Careless driving, stunt driving, dangerous driving, those are charges that are available as an option, depending on what's observed by an officer. But it is absolutely unsafe. If your vehicle is overheating, pull over. It's going to be safe and reasonable to pull over and stop your vehicle because it's overheating. It is not okay to drive at a speed above the stop traffic. It's called speed differential. It's dangerous. Get off at the exit that you see next and pull over, or buy a vehicle that is liquid cooled, because it's really only the air cooled vehicles that are having real problems with this. Sitting in traffic isn't a big deal with the liquid cooled engine. It might be hot, it might be uncomfortable. Too bad you chose to ride a motorcycle, and I love motorcycles, so it is what it is. Is eating and driving illegal, and if so, how much is the ticket? Eating and driving is not specifically illegal. If your eating and driving is so involved that is making it unsafe for the road, you're weaving because you're chewing and so good, it's careless driving. Okay. Why do people use plates that are peeling? Because they don't want to pay the $52 to replace it? They'd rather pay the $110 for the fine. I couldn't say. And a lot of them are absolutely covered under warranty. If it's less than 5 years, they're covered under warranty. Do I need to pull up on the side of the road for incoming siren police cars? Moody wants to know. The way it works is if the road is undivided, meaning divided by way of a painted line only, then both directions need to be pulled over to the nearest curb or edge of roadway and stop. If it's divided highway, like an expressway or somewhere that has a physical barrier, like a grassy knoll or a curb, dividing both directions of traffic, well, then only then oncoming you wouldn't have to. A vehicle coming towards you, you wouldn't have to pull over for it unless it was on your side of the road, which can happen sometimes. Yeah, same thing for you. Couldn't if they were coming up behind you, you'd have to pull over. But generally speaking, if it was coming the other way, you wouldn't have to. Oh, I just hit the button by accident. But it is that note that we're going to be playing that song to say goodbye real soon, because it is 7 minutes after, and we're just trying to get the last couple of questions out. And I got a message. Okay. The Grinch wants to know if I've ever been called out at a drinking establishment with your coin, where other members say challenge coin and everyone smashes the coin on the bar, and the person who doesn't have one has to buy a round. Happens at the Legion a lot. I was a member of Legion. They never sent me a renewal. Does that mean they don't want me to come back? Actually, I bought a membership and I never went. Maybe that's why. But I wanted to support. That was what the whole goal was. Anyway, long story short is I have been coined. Very often, I was a member of the chief ceremonial unit. We'd go have practice, and then we would go have a drink at the mess. And very often you'd be like, "I got a new coin. I'm so proud of it." You pull it out, and you'd hear one of the senior guys go, "Are you coining me?" Because you can present a challenge. But we would always have our coin with us. We were prepared. You can't drill holes in them. You can't wear them as necklaces. All sorts of rules. But there are different rules for different places because different units and different, more in the military. Like some places say, even if you're naked, you can't be more than one step away from your coin. Like I guess they coin people in the shower. We've never really been into the coin game. Most of my coins are on display on a rack that I have that was built at home. If I'm talking on the phone on Bluetooth and hands-free, am I liable for distracted driving? If you're driving like this and it's in hands-free, I will let you in on a little secret. That is not hands-free, and then you'd be liable. If it's in a mountain, you're talking on Bluetooth, If you are in hands-free mode and it's mounted to the vehicle, that's not violating the law. You're allowed to press answer, like swipe to answer or hang up, even if it's in Bluetooth mode. That is the extent of it. And you are legally permitted to pick up, in Ontario, pick up your phone and dial and call normally if you're calling 911 for an emergency. So let's say you got in, forgot to connect it to your device, your Bluetooth's not working, whatever, you need to call for an emergency, you are permitted to. Let's see here. Michael says, what was Michael's question? Is there a toaster coin for the most tickets in a certain amount of time? No, but I think it's a great idea. We don't get the actual toaster. That'd be great. And I like that too. Sounds like a great morale patch. I like that idea a lot. I think we covered everything. Okay. Oh, Akela has a Scouts challenge coin. I gotta find. I have a bunch. I have hundreds and hundreds of challenge coins. Yeah. Shawarma guy came in late to the party. Let's see. You didn't get the memo that we cut off at 11 o'clock and we're 10 minutes late, but I'll answer your question because you just jumped in. Hello, good morning. Do we need to keep the original car registration and insurance pink slip in the car, or a copy should suffice if cop pulls me over? Thank you. The answer is that you need to have you can have an original car registration or a photocopy of both sides, which is considered a true copy under the HDA. That's permissible. I personally don't leave anything in my vehicle. I don't want anyone to break in and know the address, but I certainly wouldn't leave an original. That stays at home. Insurance pink slip has to be an original or an electronic version by way of an app that is approved. That would be okay, but your license has to be original. And there you go. I don't leave anything with my address on in the vehicle. I don't want someone to break into my vehicle and know where I live. You know, I'm kind of crazy like that. I want my privacy. Cameron says, hello, officer from Sarnia. Thanks for your service. Well, my buddy lives in Sarnia. He's a Toronto police officer, was a Toronto police officer. He's now a Sarnia police officer. So I've been to Sarnia, and I'll be there again because I want to go visit him. I haven't seen him in a long time. Well, it's been too long. With that, I will once again press the button, and we're going to hit that traffic song so you can hear it on the way out. I'll be back tomorrow for Thursday. Have a good one.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
And that is it. That is all. I got to tell you one little hint if you're still here. I have a video I cannot wait to make a TikTok about. Someone got a red light ticket for making a right turn. Can you imagine? Well, I can't wait to make my response video. I'm going to do a stitch. Someone is not going to be happy. Have a good one, everybody. Take care.